What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Nichols YouTube channel. Today we're doing another national report with Geoffrey, who got top 8 at U.S. Nationals with his Bronzong and I guess Metal Ray deck is the easiest way to say it. But last week we had an interview with his brother, Ben, who actually got top 32 with the same exact deck, except that he played an AZ instead of the third course. And of course, once I ask, why did you not play the AZ? Why did you opt to play the course? And he gives a good answer. We talk about the Rayquaza, we talk about the Kecleon, he talks about the Cobalion a lot, and he talks about the fan club a lot. But hopefully you enjoyed the interview, and thanks for watching. What's up, everybody? Well, welcome back to Team Fish Nichols YouTube channel. Today we're doing a Nationals report, and what's your name?
Geoffrey Sauk.
Alright, and we know that you played the Bronzong Rayquaza deck. What were the decks that you played against Swiss, and how did they go?
So I actually forgot about the first two decks I played during the first two rounds.
Okay.
But during the third round, I played against Rayquaza Evital deck, and I just played Kecleon, so I kind of won that matchup single-handedly. He couldn't win the Rayquaza trades.
Mm-hmm.
Then during the fourth round, I played against my friend Isaiah Rufus playing Landybats. And that was the matchup we tested the most because we thought, oh, Metal Rayquaza is so good. Why isn't everyone playing it? And none of us wanted to play a deck that lost to it because we felt like it was going to be really popular.
Yeah.
So he had Focus Ashes in it, and we just tested the matchup a lot, so he knew what to do against it. It came down to me missing a Skyfield off of Chorus for 8, and at that point I almost scooped the game because to save time to get to game 2. But I'm like, nah, I can still win this. I got Lysanders. And it came down to him chorusing for 8 with 10 cards left in his deck to get the last Fighting Stadium to beat me. So I lost that game.
Okay.
Then round 5, I played against Kling Klang. He wasn't one of the top players playing it. I think he got the list off somebody. I don't know. But he dead drew the first game, and I was able to beat him. He pretty much just got a Kling Klang out, and that was it. And I just had Cobalion just doing 100 damage no matter what.
Yeah.
Game 2, he drew decently, but I had Heatran and Cobalion in Sacred Ash, so I was able to deal with that pretty well. Then I played against Kevin Baxter playing Groudon Halucha.
Okay.
I won the first game. We both had decent starts, and I won because of Rayquaza. Game 2, I didn't draw that well, and he got a Groudon out early, so I scooped to game 3. And he started Manectric. I think it was just attack against Rayquaza. I don't know. But he dead drew. He drew past for like 3 turns straight, and I eventually got a Rayquaza out and killed him. So then I played against a Don fan. I won game 1 pretty single-handedly. Game 2, he ended me, and I dead drew, and he got like 4 Robo Subs, and I just couldn't get a Lysander to save my life. So he beat me at time, so we tied.
Okay.
I played against Stephen Bates playing Garbodor Raichu. Game one, he dead drew, but he plays really, really slow, and he shuffles his deck, takes his time. Shuffles my deck, takes his time, and I won game 1. And game 2, he won pretty single-handedly because I didn't get all that great a start, and he got like a turn 2 Garb. So there wasn't much I could do, but time was called going into game 3, so we tied. I was okay with that since it was a pretty bad matchup because I don't play, any getting rid of Garb tools, and as soon as he gets a Garbodor out, my Aegis Slash, he just kills Aegis Slash, and I can't really do much.
Yeah.
I think I played against another Toad. I beat that pretty easily because I have Cobalion and Aegis Slash and Rayquaza. Once I get that set up eventually, it's pretty free. In the last round, I played against another Landybats, and I think he made a misplay during game 1 or game 2. I forget what it was, but I won one of the games pretty easily,
Mm-hmm.
and then he made that misplay, and I pretty much turned the game from there and won the game from there.
Okay. All right. So going to day 2, do you remember what seed you were?
I was 21st or 22nd seed,
Okay.
I believe. I was 6-1 and 2.
All right. So how many games did you have to win to get into top 8 the next day?
I had to win 4 or 5 games to make it into top 8. And I was actually talking to my brother at dinner about this, and I'm like, Ben, you're number 1 seed, and you still need to win 1 more game than me, and I'm 22nd seed. because there was like a 9-0 in our bracket. There was Dylan Bryan, the Ben Moscow at the 9-0. They had so many points, and Ben was first seed in the blue flight, and he was still like, I need to win 3 games and tie 2 or something to make it. And I'm just like, I'm done. At that point, I was having dinner, and I'm just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I have no chance. Because, like, I saw a lot of Manetrix, which that came out of nowhere to me. And I was like, oh, this is not looking good for me. But luckily, during day 2, I played against Britt, I forget how to pronounce his name.
Britt.
He was playing Seismitoad Garb, and he dead drew the first game, even though I got an early Kabalion out, and that just would have beat him anyways, I think.
Yeah.
So I won game 1, and then game 2 I ended up decking him because I got rid of like almost all of his energies. So I won that game, and then my second match of the day I played against Seismitoad Crobat.
Okay.
And I got a Kabalion out, and I got rid of all his energies, and I won. That was game 1. And game 2, he started Seismitoad. He's like, I started Kabalion. He's like, oh, I'm not going to attach an energy because I'm cool. So he draw passes or something, or play support, or get set up, get some bats. And I go, Floatstone Kabalion, Kecleon DCE, Quaking Punch. And he's like, I can't laser. I can't muscle band. I have no way of trading against this. Kecleon. So he Quaking Punches me for 2 turns, and then I just set up like a Rayquaza and one-shot him, and the game's pretty much over from there.
Okay.
Next game, I played against Christy. She was playing the Manetric Toad Crobat.
Mm-hmm.
I actually tested that matchup because I was thinking of playing the Manetric Toad, like almost the same list she was playing, a couple cards different, and I could not beat Rayquaza. They had with the Altaria or without the Altaria. So I was like, okay, I have a pretty good matchup. I won game 1. Game 2, she ended up taking off of me. I forget what happened. I think she just had a really good start, and I couldn't kill her Manetrix fast enough.
Yeah.
And then game 3, I had a really, really good start. I got really lucky. And I saw that, and I'm like, okay, I need to play really fast because time was running low.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, time was called on my turn when I had 4 prizes left. So I was able to take another knockout and then a couple more knockouts when I was turn 3 or whatever.
Okay.
So won that game. And then I played against another Toad Garb during the 4th game. So, I mean, I don't care how many Manetrics there were. I got really lucky, and I just did the same thing I did against Britt and won that game.
Uh-huh.
But I felt like I had no right just going 4-0 and Swiss. I'm like, oh, Ben's playing against two Raichus and then 2 Manetrics. And then you see me playing against four Seismitoad. And I'm just like, I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
My deck's like almost made to beat it, so I'm okay with it. Then I played against the Wailord player. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name right now.
Enrique?
Yeah, Enrique. And I decided to ID him. I know it was a positive matchup for me, and he said he was feeling tired or something, but I wanted to ID him because I wanted to play him during day 2 because I knew it was such a positive matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played against Ben Moscow, and we both ID'd to make cut. And I also wanted to play against him in top 8. Funny story though, I played him first the game 1, just because like we started playing, and then we decided to ID because we had to get started because just in case we didn't ID, we didn't want to waste time.
Sure.
And I actually had a terrible start, and he got like turn 2 Bronzongs out, and I had no way of winning that game. So I'm kind of happy that we ID'd in.
Okay. Now, going to top 8, are you nervous about the top 8 matchup?
So, looking at the standings before top 8 was posted, I'm like, oh, I have a really good chance of winning this tournament if I make top 8. Because like there was a question if there was gonna be 8 people that had 34 points or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I was scared that I didn't have all that great of resistance, but all the people I played against said that they were winning their last round, so I'm like, okay, I have really good resistance. And then all of them lost in the last round. And the guy I played with playing Seismitoad Crobat, I think ended up losing to Grant in the last round.
Uh-huh.
So Grant kind of came out of nowhere to me. And because I thought, oh, all the Manetrics are doing so bad. I got this tournament. And then I see a Manetric Garbodor, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's my worst matchup. That's awesome.
That's true.
And so yeah, I was upset about that matchup. I ended up going back and play testing with some of my friends with the matchup, And his deck was dead drawing a lot because they posted the deck lists the night before, so we were able to build his deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that actually helped me a lot since I was the player with the unfavorable matchup. So knowing his deck list, that was definitely a big plus to me.
Okay.
I don't think it helped him all that much since I probably don't even think he even tested the matchup, to be honest, because he just assumed that he had the auto win
Yeah.
because it's pretty favorable for him. But we built his deck, and it dead drew about 30% of the games, a good one-third of it.
Okay.
And if I got a good start and went first, I was also able to beat him. So I would say like the matchup was about 70-30, 60-40. Probably not even that good, but I thought it was in favor of me for the like 10, 20 games we play tested since he dead drew a lot.
Yeah.
But and then we went to the top 8, and I was the one that dead drew. And he had pretty good starts. I almost won game 1 or came back in it if I didn't whiff a Skyfield because I prized 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
That felt good. It was like we were testing, and I'm like, if I get a good start, don't prize 2 Skyfields, I win. Because that's what happened when I was playtesting against my brother the morning of. I prized 2 Skyfields, and I'm like, oh, if I didn't prize 2 Skyfields, I would have won that game.
True.
And Ben's like, oh, just don't prize 2 Skyfields, and you're fine. I prized 2 Skyfields.
You
So
didn't
clearly
listen to him.
I was doing something wrong. I
Yeah.
didn't listen to him. And then game 2, I was attacking with Shaman. I think that was my best attack of that game. So that went over pretty quickly.
Okay. Well, I mean, top 8 at Nationals is still very great, so
Yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah, I'm happy. I went into the tournament either going top 8 or bust, and I made top 8, so I'm happy. I got my Worlds invite.
So you had to get top 8 to get your invite?
Yes, I did. I had 100 points for the season.
Well,
I was always
congratulations.
one win. Thank you. I was always one win off in tournaments for making points or top cut, so I was excited.
Yeah, I would be too. All right. Well, I guess the first question is, why did you decide to play the Bronzong Rayquaza deck?
So during playtesting before Canadian Nationals happened, I was like my brother and I were sold on Crobat and like just either Raichu Crobat, Seismitoad Crobat, or Landy Bats. And then I think the night before Canadian Nationals happened, I hold league here at my college,
Okay.
and I built 3 decks. I built like the skeleton list for all the Crobat decks. I built Seismitoad. Well, I guess that's all of them, but I built Seismitoad, Crobat, Landy Bats, and Raichu Bats, and all that. And then for some reason, I went on the PTCGO and I built Metal Rayquaza because I'm like, Rayquaza. I haven't played Rayquaza yet. This looks fun. I'll build it. Let's see how this does in this format. And I brought it to League, and I was playing my Seismitoad Crobat, beating one of the seniors that was there, Alex Mullen. Shout out to him. And he's like, you got any other decks we can test? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Take this Metal Rayquaza. Let's see how this matchup goes. And he absolutely obliterated me, and I was playing Seismitoad Crobat, and I'm like, oh, that deck just beat what I thought was the best deck. That's cool. So I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes against Landy Bats. I can't possibly lose this matchup. Oh, I got destroyed. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let's build Raichu. Because, Raichu against Rayquaza. And he set up Aegislash, and I'm like, oh, well, I lose. That's cool. And I'm like, oh, what does this deck lose to? Because, and then Canadian National, I'm like, hey, Ben, this deck's really, really good. He's like, yeah, whatever, Jeff. And then he goes to his testing party that he had with a bunch of other our testing group. And he calls me after it and says, hey, Jeff, you know what deck we found out is really good? Metal Rayquaza. And I'm like, yeah. I wonder who told you that. So we spent all that time testing that deck, and Canadian Nationals happened, and it was a bunch of Raichu. And I'm like, okay, so after that, there's going to be a lot of Landy Bats. So no one's going to be playing Manectric. So I'm good. I'm good with my Rayquaza deck. I'm happy.
Yeah.
So that's what I went with.
Okay. Now, you did play the one Kecleon, the one Aegislash, and the one Cobalion, and the Heatran. What was your favorite, I guess, tech attacker?
So Cobalion did the most damage out of all the tech attackers, but Kecleon was my favorite because I Quaking Punched for pretty much just destroying my opponent's setup at the beginning of the game and during day 2.
Yeah.
I used counter Rayquazas with it. I actually used Emerald Break, I think, twice with it. And I even killed a Mewtwo using its X-Ball and copying its type. So I was pretty happy with that card.
Okay.
So,
Alright.
but Cobalion definitely did put in work too.
Yeah.
Because I think I discarded more than 10 DCEs during day 2 with that card.
So dirty.
So I was happy.
Yeah. Now, we know that your brother played the 1AZ, but you opted to a third Colress.
Yes.
Why'd you not play the AZ?
So I originally had AZ in the deck, and for the matchups that I was, losing to, I didn't think the AZ was all that important because like the AZ was there for like Trevenant, Trevenant, Gengar,
Okay.
and the Landy Bats matchup. But I felt that with adding the Heatran made my Landy Bats matchup pretty favorable in the first place. So I just wanted to add more consistency to my deck. So I think because I had Skyfield, I expect a lot of other Skyfield decks. I think 3 Colress was really, really good. So it definitely helped me out because I remember a time I added a full art Colress in my deck. And I drew the full art Colress, and if it was an AZ, I would not have won the game. And I Colress ended up drawing what I needed, so I was happy.
Okay. Now, looking forward to next tournaments. If you would have played the Stick Up Worlds, would you make any changes to the list?
Absolutely. I did not expect that many Minetrics, so I didn't play Altaria.
Okay.
So I think I would play Altaria. I would also play AZ because I think AZ is a really good card, and I agree with my brother. AZ is a really good card. I just didn't think it was needed, and it was, but that's a discussion for another time.
Okay. Now,
But I think the Altaria line would definitely be better, just because, like I said, all the Minetrics, and yeah.
all right. Now, would you ever add in a Zerosic or a Megaphone to get rid of Garbodor?
I think that I'm not sure if that's better than Altaria because, like, if I have the Altaria out, even if they have Garbodor, if I just Lysander and kill their Garbodors, the Altaria is still putting in its work. But it's definitely something I need to consider because that was also one of the techs we were considering putting in the deck. But I didn't think that many Garbodor would be there because I thought it lost to Landy Bats. But I guess I was wrong. I guess my testing proved otherwise. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect that much Garbodor either. It's a big surprise on my end, too.
Yep.
All right. Now, you did play the one Dragon Rayquaza. Why was that?
So I didn't play the Altaria, and I didn't play the Winona. So it actually was the saving grace in my Minetric matchup. I would get out Dragon Rayquaza and build that up, and they couldn't Lysander and kill it before I went Mega. So that was like the whole idea was against Minetric, even if they have a Minetric set up already,
Mm-hmm.
if I have a Dragon Rayquaza down with a Spirit Link, they can only do 120 to it. And then I Mega Evolve and kill their Minetric with all their energies, and if it wasn't a Mega Minetric and they don't have any other Minetrics powered up, I win the game. And that was that. So that's why I played the Dragon Rayquaza, because it didn't really have any much downside. And also, I can kill Joltix with the DCE. I did not experience that in my tournament, but I did experience that in playtesting.
Okay.
So that was something to note. But other than that, I think Colorless Rayquaza is just exponentially better. Hitting Wailords for 60 damage is nice, and just random other times you have to attack with it. But I think playing one Dragon Rayquaza is something to look into.
Okay. Now, speaking of Wailord, how is his matchup against it?
I think it's positive, even if I didn't play the AZ, just because you set up 2 Bronzongs and a Rayquaza and a Cobalion, and if you just save your Float Stones for when they Lysander something other than Keldeo up. So if I just catch Floatstone, retreat, and then I know they play 2 Silent Labs, I play 4 Skyfield. So if I don't get rid of the Rough Seas, I'm fine. Just save them for the Skyfields. And Enrique actually messaged my brother on Facebook saying he was scared to play against me or Ben and Top or Dame 2 because he knew that matchup was just if we get what we need, they pretty much lose, and they understood that. But
okay. Now, speaking of Wailord, for Worlds, do you expect Wailord to die off, or do you think it'll still be pretty played?
I think it's going to die off, even if people don't put in the Bunnelby at all. I think it will die off just because the threat of the Bunnelby, and now people have time to play test against it. And I definitely think people are going to be more, if they play against it, they're not going to do the, draw pass, draw pass, draw pass. They'll actually think about, they're going to Hue me. They're going to end me, so they have card advantage. And just all their stuff like that. So I think knowing how to play against the deck, it loses its surprise factor, and it's won't have as high as you won't see it win as many games just because they're playing Wailord. I'm just gonna play down all my cards and attack with it, and then they're like, okay, I win now.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Now, look at your list. You did play the one fan club. Did you ever wish that was a Winona?
Yes, I have wished that was a Winona, but I also played that as a fan club and got 2 Bronzors and won many games because of it.
Yeah.
And I also think I would have lost some of the games if it wasn't a fan club because I couldn't search for Heatran, I couldn't search for the Kabalion, which is a huge saving grace in the Toad matchup. It also let me search for the Kecleon. I did do that once. I searched for the Kecleon with fan club, and that's how I was able to beat the Mega Rayquaza deck. But
Mhm.
I guess Winona searches for it too. It's
Yeah.
colorless. Whatever. I'm bad at this game. But I did think I did wish it was a Winona sometimes to be able to search for my Mega Rayquaza. But because I didn't play the Altaria, I didn't think the Winona was worth it, and I thought the fan club was better.
Okay. So if you were to switch to the Altaria line, would you put Winona in?
Oh, absolutely. I think I would have. Just because you can search for the whole Altaria line, the Mega Rayquaza, and if you play the Altaria, I think you would want to go more heavy Mega Rayquaza,
Sure.
just because you're like, oh, I have Altaria. There's no point for me not to really go heavier on the Rayquaza. I'm not afraid of lightning guys that much anymore. So.
Now, looking forward towards Worlds. I know it's almost a month away, but would you still consider Rayquaza for Worlds, or you think about switching decks?
I am not sure right now. I think Mega Rayquaza is a top contender to decks that we will see at Worlds. But I pretty much like everyone else said on this on your interviews. It all depends on what the hype is and what the quote unquote meta switches to.
Sure.
It's like, oh, if people are hyping up Manectric, I don't think you'll see as that many Mega Rayquazas. If people are hyping up Seismitoad and other stuff, you might see more Rayquazas. It just all depends on what people are talking about. Just kind of like how last year was like, oh, hyping up Pyroar. Well, Pyroar got hyped up so much that no one played it, and Varisi and Genesect just went rampage and won. So
That's true. All right. Well, do you want to give any shout outs to anybody?
shout out to my brother for playtesting with me. Shout out to Sydney Morrisoli and Nola Frida for letting me borrow cards to build my deck. Because I don't own 3 Shamans, and I don't own that many Rayquazas because I don't get lucky with opening my boxes. Shout out to Isaiah Rufus and the rest of my testing group. And shout out to Dylan Bryan for playtesting me for Nationals and realizing that I try to build a deck to beat Mega Rayquaza and I should just be playing Mega Rayquaza. So, yeah.
Alrighty, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and good luck at Worlds, man.
Thank you so much for having me, and you too. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Take care.
You too. Bye.